Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Good to see one or two of you on this morning. Fantastic to have you here, as always. Danny, good to see you, mate. Luke in the house. A few of the regulars. Excellent. Kumi, Alex, Alison, Chris. Morning, mate. Good to see you. Thanks for popping along, folks. Hanging out for another Wealth Coffee Chat. Just a quick public service announcement. I won't be doing a public, won't be doing a Wealth Coffee Chat tomorrow. I'll be up in Brisbane with a bunch of business owners. We're doing a business owner program called the On-Ramp and Exit Plan. So hanging out with those guys tomorrow and on the weekend. There you go. Oh, nice, Alison. Off on a bit of a cruise. That's cool. Off to Darwin, mate. Well, good luck in crazy Darwin. Interesting town. That's for sure. Morning, Paul. Aaron's here too. Hey. Awesome to see you, folks. Welcome along. Probably get into it straight up today because I got a bit to do, but I thought we would talk about the game of tax today. Whether you like it or not, we're playing a game when it comes to the world of grown-upping. I don't know, my kids, we're having a bit of a laugh. My eldest two are sort of 18 and 20, and they're not necessarily enjoying all this aspects of grown-upping, hey? Bills, taxes, jobs, commitments over and above school. But, you know, what are one of the things, the main things as we move through life that we will always be playing, whether we like it or not. And maybe there's one or two ways to not play this game. But for most of us, we're going to be playing this game, the tax game. The tax game, folks. And there's a little bit of a saying about the tax game. It's not about how much you make, but it's about how much you keep. And for most of our property investors at Positive, most of us, 80 to 90%, are in the world of PAYG. That's our community. That's who we serve. We've served mostly PAYG and small business owners for 20 years. And yeah. The kids, they're not enjoying the adulting. That's for sure, Chris. Yeah, there you go. Well, it's the same. So what do we do in the game of tax as property investors, we need to understand the rules. And can we, most of us have a default position. I don't know about you, but when I first got my first job and saw my paycheck, taking tax out and so on, folks, I was like, hang on, is there anything I can do about it? And tell me in the chat, the first time you ask someone, maybe your parents or someone close to you, is there anything I can do about this tax malarkey that's coming out of my income? What did they say to you? What did they say? What do most people say when it comes to, nah, that's just the way it is, put it in the chat. Did you get any feedback in the early days? Maybe these days you know better, but what was it? What did someone say? Anyone give you some wise words of advice? That's it. Hunker down. There's two things for certain in life, folks. Death and taxes. One of those ones. Yeah. So is there anything you can do about it? Well, as we get a little bit older and we understand a little bit more, we know the rules, folks, are written by wealthy people, smart people. And if we understand them a little, we can make the most out of it, which is good. Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. Yeah, there you go. That's good. I think give that to everyone at the right time, Alison. I think that changed people's worlds for sure. So the tax game, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Anyone know this guy? If you want to go and check out, I won't play the video, but he's a legend. He has a video on YouTube, Kerry Packer, saying, there's nothing wrong with minimizing your tax. And if you don't minimize your tax, I think you need your head read, because as a government, I don't think we should be donating extra, because you're not doing a very good job with the stuff that I've already given you. So go and see that one, which is awesome. So game, what's the game? What's the tax game we're playing, right? So as a general gist, right? As a general gist, in the world of us as investors, property investors specifically, well, there's two kind of processes that we need to understand: the capital gains tax world, capital gain, and income tax. Now, who knew? Tell me, who actually knows this? Is there such a thing as a capital gains tax? Folks, tell me in the chat, just a yes or no. Is there such a thing called a capital gains tax? An actual tax, folks. Is there actually a tax? Wow, I can tell you, there's actually not. There's no such thing. Exactly, Tom. Hang on, I've got a visitor. You need something? Oh, he's saying hello. Oh, there's my son. We were just talking about him and adulting. He's not enjoying it. He's raiding my bag for some reason. Oh, you got the van keys. All right, jolly good. Moving on. So there's no such thing as a capital gains tax, folks. There's actually a capital gains calculation which you actually pay income tax on. All right. So that often blows people's noodles going, what? I hear people talking about capital gains tax all the time. No, folks, what happens is this. You have calculations of a way you might treat a certain type of income. An income that ends up in whatever entity, let's say us as a person, you get a capital gain from a sale or of a disposal or something, then how much of that capital gain is taxable? That's what the calculation is, and there's some rules, principal place of residence, no tax and stuff, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what happens is the calculation, it flows, you actually pay the tax at income tax level. Anyway, we're getting a bit deep into it, but really at the end of the day, folks, we call this game, the tax game, the game of 30. You got to beat 30%, okay? And this is kind of some of the rules we work with, investors, you guys all the time on this. How do we beat the game of 30? How do we beat 30% tax? How do we get it down to 25? Exactly, Chris, dead right. How do we get it down to 25? How do we get it down to 20? folks? How do we get it down to 15? Et cetera, et cetera. And ladies and gents, not have to pay it back, all right? Because taxes aren't eliminated, folks. What's the way? There's only one thing you can do with taxes, and that is what? Tell me. I don't know. It's probably the question's loaded, but I'll change it. You can only delay them. Okay. Now, you can delay it if you follow some of our rules. What's one of the ways that you'll never pay capital gains tax, folks? You can minimize and delay. Right? You're exactly right, Tom. You can min and delay. What's one of the ways you'll never pay capital gains tax? You buy your property and you never sell it, folks. Never sell your property. Never sell. Exactly. It's not rocket science. You don't need a PhD in tax law in Australia to work it out, folks. Right? However, that's not avoiding it or minimizing it. That's just delaying it. For as long as you live. Okay. At some point, someone down the track may, in some way, shape, or form, dispose of that property. You might leave it to them. It might happen afterwards. And then at some point, someone's got to pay some tax somewhere. All right. As we go. But what's the game we're playing? The game is, can you beat 30%? And yes, you should be able to. How do you do that? There's a few ways, right? In your personal world, as an individual, your tax rates, your true cash tax rates, not the tax rate, but the percentage of tax you pay. So don't get confused on the tax rates, because that messes people up. All right. At 120 grand, it's 26%. At 180 grand, it's 30%. So in your individual world, up to 180 grand, which is a pretty good income, by the way, folks, 30% or less. If it goes over that, then you should have some other things going on. How do you minimize your tax there, right? So as an individual, the best way I love to do that, the best way I know, which is ridgy-dig, is buy investment properties and use depreciation, right? There we go. So super, money into super, you guys know the drill, 15%, right? As you go. And structures. Structures are companies, company trusts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Depends if they're trading or not trading. You can do that too. Now, as an individual, you and I, if we are PAYG, we may not have, there might be a question mark over here. Will we ever be able to take advantage of those structures for tax management, tax minimization, and tax delaying? Well, the answer is yes, in the future maybe, but for the moment, if you are PAYG, then, you're working with a couple of these things, okay? That's what you're working with. So the game of 30, that's what we're playing, team. There you go. That's right, Tom. That's right. So, you might not pay the capital gain, but someone else might pay it depending on how you do that. Now, part of what we do at this exit plan and on-ramp as we talk about managing things like that, Tom. There's a way you can pass your assets on and have ownership in perpetuity for you and your family if you do it in the right way. And it will not, folks, activate a disposal when it comes to the ATO's definition of a gain, and you won't pay tax at that point. So that's kind of good, right? Yeah, you got to know these rules. There's some rules out there. So for you, for me, depending on how you're structured, depending on what you're doing, don't give the money away, folks. Don't give the money away, okay? Don't give the money away. If you don't have to, right? Follow the rules. I'm not talking about breaking the rules. I'm not talking about doing anything dodgy or silly or stupid. That's illegal. Don't do that. That's dumb. But hang on, folks. Did you know that you can do these things? Did you know that you can minimize your tax using depreciation? Most of you know that. Did you know you can have company and trust structures, plus, super funds, plus, bloodline trusts, and it's all good, So did you know? And if you don't know, now you start to think, all right, well, how do I do this? What do I do? What's the future look like for me as we go? So part of it, folks, part of this, and there's as your wealth grows, when you buy your assets, you're going to have good value problems, folks. That's what's going to happen. And most of us, we knuckle down, we claw, we inch our way forward with our property portfolio. We do everything like save every cent, skimp, serviceability, the lot. We get a first deal and then a second, and then all of a sudden, we're 5 deals in, and we get a bit of a run that goes our way, and then all of a sudden our wealth goes from 2 million to 4 million, and then you're like, oh wow, okay, and that happens again, and then happens again, and then you're 65, 70, and you're thinking about, okay, shit, I better think about how I pass this on or what I'm going to do with it, right? Yeah, that's what we've got to think about. Your success is going to bring good quality problems that maybe we talk about now, how we solve them, because it's inevitable. Folks, if you own a good piece of real estate for 20 to 30 years, it's going to be worth 2 to 3 times more than you bought it. You'll have zero debt on it. It'll be producing an amazing income, and we'll be this full circle. We'll be back at, shivers, I've got this great income. I got no tax deductions now. I'm paying more tax. If I sold the property, I'd have a massive capital gain, and then I'd pay tax on that, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a great problem to have. I dare you to have that problem. I encourage you to have that problem. It's a good problem to manage as an investor as we go. So the game, folks, the game we're playing, I'll finish it with this, and this we might, have a chat about, what this might look like. The game we're playing, folks, it's, can you manage your income, from 30 down to 0, or the calculation of the amount of tax you pay, can you make sure that you manage it that way? Okay. That's the goal. That's the thing. Someone on 100K, if you ended up with 4 investment properties, okay, and these days the servicing's a little bit challenging on that. There we go, right? 4 investment properties, all knocking out 20K of depreciation and some paper losses, folks. You could technically reduce your taxable income. This is the thing, on paper, from 100K to about 30K, folks. And instead of paying $25,000 in tax, you might pay $8,000 in tax for the year, right? Boom, tick in the box, right? Now you own 4 properties. You've reduced on paper your income, the amount of income that you pay tax on. Happy days. So that's kind of like, how do we get it from 30 down to 10, down to 15, down to 0? There's some other vehicles in there. You guys know the one we talk about, super and other stuff. Talk to your financial planner about this, obviously. But you can manage those taxes in an effective way, folks. Okay? Manage them in an effective way. Anyway, there you go. That's it from me today. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dustedly. Hope that made sense. I hope it made sense, folks, what we're talking about today. Yeah, Chris, passing. Depending on what your vintage is, Chris, will depend on, the things that would make sense, right? You can pass them on in a will, but you got to kick the bucket, right? You're like, all right, well, maybe I don't want to wait till I fall off the perch. There's things like bloodline trusts and all sorts of stuff. Probably very well worth it, mate, to chat to a good financial planner and accountant. Bit of a combo at that point in time. But there you go. All right, folks. Good to have you here today. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone. great book to read, Die with Zero. I've been on that one. Been fantastic. Doesn't mean you have to die with nothing. It means you arrange your bits in a way that, get you a good outcome. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for joining me, folks. Good to have you here. I'm not here tomorrow. Remember, I've got the exit plan on, but I'll see you on the following month. Adios. Bye for now. That's from me. Take care. See you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.